welcome to Craft Hags. This is episode 7. Thanks for stopping by today, everybody. Let me know if my setup's weird at all. I've been prepping to move, and so just about every week I have to rearrange this room in some other fashion to accommodate all of the moving. So, if something's up, please just tell me. I'm trying to make do here. I see there's no swearing allowed in the chat. I'll just mention that's not my rules, that's D&D's rules, but that's just because they like to keep it friendly. This tea is so good. Not that bad words are like bad or anything, but you know. There could be kids watching, I don't know. I don't know what you tried to say, but dealing with crap is the replacement. Welcome to episode 7 of Craft Hags. We're just gonna be messing around today, which is gonna be way fun. I need to... Oh, look! A freaking nail file? Okay. It's gonna be a weird day, you guys. I'm so sorry. I have a headache, and I haven't taken any medicine, because my tummy doesn't like that anymore. That's a new thing in my life, and so when I get a headache, I just have to be like, lol, okay, I guess this is my day. And please refrain from all of the health tips in the chat. I've heard them all. I've had headaches my whole life. I've tried everything, and I know you just mean well, but believe me, I've tried it. But yeah, that's how we're rolling today, is we're just gonna be messing around, trying to make this corset look cool. Let me show you where we're at with it right now. I honestly got barely any scrummy work done this week. It's been a whole adventure. We're moving 2 houses. Did I mention that it was 2 houses? We're moving my husband's mom in with us as we also move across the state closer to Seattle, which is going to be so exciting and like better for everybody involved for like 8 million reasons. It'll be great. But getting 2 houses ready to sell and figuring out how to combine all your belongings and your lives and everything is just it's a lot, but you know, it's going well most of the time. But so as you can see, my desk is a mess because I've had to rearrange like 12 times this week. I don't even know what this is. What is this? Somebody laid that there. There's pliers. Don't need pliers. We might need pliers. I'll keep them. But yeah, so this is where... God, the garbage is never ending. This is the point of the show where I show you what I got done during the week, which is not very much. So, what we got here is the corset. This is just a regular old cheap waist cincher. You can see the satin was already coming apart on the inside. It was very cheaply made. Whatevs. We're using it. We're going to upcycle it into this cool thing. I really like this brown ribbon I found. It just kind of goes with the whole look of Scrummy. But it's obviously quite clean, shiny, not Scrummy-ish. So, I'm probably going to be getting out the dye today, just to muck it up, because I don't know how we're going to do that, honestly. It's really dark. It's also probably 100% polyester, and I only have dye for, like, silk and stuff. So maybe it won't work, but we do need to dye a couple other things, so I guess we'll just try it. We'll see, you know. But yeah, we need to dirty up that ribbon. Otherwise, I'm loving this, because on the back here, I made a panel that this will be my butt, like under here, and then my upper torso will be on this side of it. But yeah, look at how cool that looks. I just poked them through. I just sewed this on the back, and then like I've got a lot of room, obviously, in between to cinch this up, and I'll show you what it looks like when it gets all cinched. And this cincher is perfect because when it's completely loose and the fabric is laying flat, I can wear it without it cinched at all, like that's just how big my waist is. But if we do cinch it up, like so, come on, like so, then it becomes tighter, and then on the outside, it just kind of, you know, scrunches in, and it looks pretty cool. And then this stuff just kind of bunches up and like kind of just looks like a bustle on the back of a skirt, and it wrinkles it up, and when it's hanging it looks really nice and disgusting. So we are gonna look for ways to make this ribbon more disgusting. We might just have to paint it with acrylic paint, honestly, which would be fine. It'll be less soft and shiny and pretty, but that's okay, because Scrummy doesn't care. Scrummy doesn't care, you guys. That's the beauty of the scrum. When you're truly scrumming, you just don't care. And for anybody who is new to the show and doesn't know what I'm talking about, I am making a costume for my D&D character. Her name is Scrummy. She's a gnome warlock from the Underdark who raised herself in the Myconid village. This is what she looks like. She is just the cutest. And that is a picture of me drawn on, or with the costume drawn on. It's a pretty fun way to figure out what the costume is going to look like on you. If you've never tried that and you have Photoshop or some tracing paper on hand, it's a cool way to get the proportions all figured out for yourself. Get this all stretched back out. Cool! So, let me show you some of the stuff we're going to be messing with today. First of all, we've got one big lattice work thing here on the side. We made this a couple episodes ago. It's just felt, that's just wool that's been matted together. It kind of catches on this other layer right here, so we're going to have to do like a little bit of stitching right here just to keep it overlapped in a way that's pleasing to the eye. Otherwise it'll like I'll sit down and it'll do this, and then it'll like just stay that way when I stand up and walk around, and that's not what we want it to look like. So we're gonna have to like kind of babysit this thing and control it a little bit. I've also got more. I just made a couple more of those. I don't know where I put them. LOL! Like, for real, I just made a few more of these little nasty babies, and they're gone. But yeah, maybe they'll just pop up again in the middle of the show at some point. Well, I made some more of those. If we don't get to that today, because I can't find them, I will just be attaching them on the other side here so that it's symmetrical, and then I might be making a few more of these less defined ones. See how this one's just kind of, it's just kind of a gross thing. It's not really even some shapes. But yeah, I think I want to layer a bunch more of those in just to almost make a more poofy shape right here on the hips. See, this is where the corset is in our drawing. And currently we have mushrooms on the side panels. This middle panel is quite boring. We're going to have to dress this up. That's part of what we're going to do today. And then I would like just a little bit more of like a flaring out right here. So I might be layering a few more of these nasty kebabs. Whatever they are. I don't know what to call them. I'm going to have some more tea. And I see you guys in the chat asking if this is for my own D&D character. It is. I sometimes play this character with my friends. But I wanted to have a costume that was my own creation, my own design. You know, just like I'm really into costume design, and I think if I ever got the chance to design for fantasy media of any kind, I would be like so down. So this is kind of like just as a part of the show, I've just decided that I'm gonna practice my costume designing skills, and instead of, you know, doing a riff or a mix-up of a different character, kind of the way you would with cosplay in general, I'm just designing my own from the ground up, and like, you know, it's gonna be completely original. People won't get it, but like that's kind of on me to make something cool enough that people want to ask me what I'm from, or, you know, what I'm doing. Like if people are interested enough to ask me who I'm dressed as at like a convention or something, then I've won. Like I've created a cool enough character that people are crazy interested, and like, you know, that's all you can ask for. And then I just get to be like, oh no, this is just my own D&D character, and then like they're gonna be like, what? Tell me all about her. She looks cool. She looks like she's really into mushrooms. I'll be like, you know what? She is. You would be right. So yeah. I'm glad you guys like my point of view camera. Ah, look at this tea. It's so good. Oh, you can't even see it. It's like a cloudy lime green tea. I love it. This is Genmai Cha, just in case anybody's ever gotten into green tea, but they haven't delved into the toasted rice portion of that world. There's a whole world of green tea. I actually found tea last week that was twig tea, and I know a lot of other people, I looked it up. There are some people who believe that the twig tea is useful for spiritual reasons, which is just freaking fine with me. I just thought it tasted amazing, and it's literally twigs. It's literally twigs. Like, they have tons of little twigs, and I put them in my little tea baller, and you know, it almost tasted like a light roast coffee. It was so good. So good. But yeah, twig tea. Get used to it. This stuff's cool. I found this at the store yesterday. What it is just that scrubby cotton yarn stuff that you, my mother-in-law actually uses this stuff in bright colors to make little pot scrubbers. She crochets them or knits them or whatever, because it's like, it's scrubby. It's not comfy. But I thought it looked really cool. Like for embroidery, and yeah, it's bright white, but that's why we're getting out the dye later today. If not on the show, I'll tweet some pictures of this stuff, because it's really fun. I had to tweeze it apart into 2 different sections, because it was 2 different pieces of thread, like twisted together to make the yarn. As you can see, that's pretty thick. Excuse me, I'm burping a lot. Damn you, Genmai Cha! I mean, darn you. I can't get auto-modded, can I? Lol. But yeah, I thought it would be really cool to like use this to kind of just embroider some cool, almost like bark texture. Like it'll just kind of come off and be gross looking, which is what we want, because that's what Scrummy is all about, is being naturey and gross and not pleasing to the eye. Some other stuff I got, this is all just embroidery floss. These are like way cheap, maybe not some of the more metallic ones, but I did find some like pearl thread, like that's super shiny. I know you can't see. I totally attempted to make my camera better this week or find a better option, but didn't work. We're stuck with this thing. Until I find something else. But I know in a better light and under a much nicer camera, you could probably, yeah, see, even when I put the light on it, it just gets crazy, crazy bright. But this is super soft and silky and shiny, but it's also kind of pearl. So I want to do some embroidery under these mushrooms to make it look like gills. So I'll just be doing like line work with these metallic pearly threads. That's why I got a bunch, because I have a bunch of mushrooms to do. So that's part of my plan, and that'll look really cool. And it'll kind of help these stick up. A lot of these, like, they just dried in a weird way, but I think if I, like, iron them or get them wet again and then, like, hold them and blow dry them, they'll stand up the way I want them to. So I'm not really too worried about that yet. But I also got just some normal, not shiny, off-white. Some of these were cool. This is also more of that pearly thread, but in like a, you can't tell, but it's like a really warm brown. That'll be fun. We have bronze. You can tell that's glittery as crap. And the nice part about all of this is that these are all threads that come apart. So like if that's a little bit too much, like just that's a big piece of thread. Like that's gonna get crazy loud, especially because it's sparkly, but look at how it's already coming apart just on its own. You can like just take one thread from the thread, from within the thread. It's a threadception over here. And see how thin that is? And if we like stuck that through a needle, we could get a lot more detailed, subtle work out of that. And I really liked how that looked, so I picked up one of those because it was a little more spendy. I want to say it was like $5. I'm gonna sneeze, 1 second. Thank you. And then I have all these other cool colors, which just kind of go with the palette we got. We got a couple other ones that are like, they don't really go, but they might, you know, stand out. They might, you know, draw attention where we want it to. You never know. You never know what you're gonna need. But I did just get a bunch of colors that just kind of blend in. Also, I just love all these colors. They're so warm and wet and foresty looking. But yeah, so, I think first off, how do we want to start this? I guess I'll explain, like, the things I'm unhappy with currently. So, let me zip this up. I also, if you're seeing this and you're like, what is that thing? This is just cross-stitch fabric, paper. I don't know what it's called. It's, you know, needlework backing. I can make up a serious name if I need to. But what I did was I sewed it on the back because this felt was so thin. Like, it's so thin you can even see through it in some areas. That's how delicate that is. And if you just, I've done this before, this is how I know. If you just sew a big strip of Velcro on the back of some really delicate felt, and then you go, yoink! And then you try to stick it down, and this is stretching all day, this felt's just going to stretch right apart again. I mean, all it is like shrunken hairs. And so if something's just made by being shrunk, if you pull on it hard enough, it's just going to come apart again. And that can be useful in some scenarios, but in a lot of scenarios, that's not useful. I especially learned that lesson when I was working on the goblins for Tomb of Annihilation. My goblin, not goblins. My goblin had a felted, you know, shirt. It looked really cool. It was all gross and knobby looking and nasty, and it was bright red and bright orange, which is a fun, like, color just for her. It was her, like, she looked kind of menacing, so I went for like bright angry colors. But then I was like, oh, she's probably got dinosaur claws on her shoulders because she just needed some like other shapes on her shoulders, or else it just kind of looked like a shirt. So I made these big claws out of Sculpey, which are heavy. They were heavy. And I would show them to you, but I threw them all away because they fell off and broke. But also, it stretched out the shoulders of my felt just because of how much they weighed. And, like, I tied them on real good, and, like, I even had, like, a little bit of a backing underneath to keep them, like, upright. And it looked really cool at first, but then it just kind of, like, stretched and fell and went like this. And then by the end of the day, they were, like, claw epaulets because they were facing down, which was fine, too. It looked okay, but it wasn't what I was going for, so I learned my lesson there. Don't assume that felt is going to hold any weight at all. And a lot of you are probably at home like, duh. That's what we have interfacing for. I know. I know now. But yeah, so like now that I've got this, it's gonna work well. If I pull on it, it's just nice and strong. And then this is just sewn on one edge. And then I made this Velcro just to hang on across the middle. And so when I'm wearing it, it just like stretches nice and tight and it's great. But like obviously it's plain. We've got these long edges that just don't look that great. They don't mean anything. They're not adding to the costume in a nice way. And we've got all these cool mushrooms over here. And then they just kind of stop. And it's just like, oh, this big weird panel in the middle. What are we going to do with that? Well, that's what we're going to figure out today. And using all this cool stuff, we're just going to try to hide these edges in any way that we can. Or we'll add more felt maybe if we need to, like, just like bring this brown into the green a little bit more so you don't notice that edge. A cool idea I think might work. It might not work just because of everything that's already attached behind it. But what I'm going to try is needle felting some of the extra wool I have into the seam here. I'm actually just going to try it and see if it works really quick. And let me show you what I've got here. This is like a special needle felting tool. It's got 3 very sharp needles on it. I've only stabbed myself with this like 30 times. But yeah, as you can see, the light is kind of being interrupted on the needle. As the reflection is in segments. It's because there are little tiny barbs all along the sides of these needles, and that's what drives the wool down into the felt. Kind of like a bunch of teensy little fishing hooks. It's like kind of scary. But yeah. But what it does is you just like, let's just try it. And I'll be felting through the corset too, and there's like a corset bone right here. For any of you who aren't familiar with corset boning, it's just like a piece of plastic that's in the corset. Or, you know, it's called boning because they used to make them out of whalebone in historical eras. And so I just took a little bit. I obviously can't shove it into the plastic part that's in there, but everything around it. Oh my god, look at that. That's so freaking cool. And so I've got this big piece of foam in the back because it needs to go into something behind it to get it as far in as it needs to go to stay. But, like, you can't do it on a table or you'll just be dulling your needles poking the table. It's awful. But yeah, everybody in the chat is like, oh no! Needle felting. Yeah, I know. It can be awful because no matter how hard you try, you're gonna stab yourself. But I'm gonna try really hard not to stab myself on camera at least. Because nobody wants to see that, you know? I mean, okay, everybody wants to see that, but I know nobody wants to admit it, and I'm not going to make you admit it, and by doing it on camera, you're going to have to be like, That's not funny. And you know, I don't want to make you feel like an awful person, so I'll just not stab myself. And I think it'll be better for everybody. Yeah. But look at this. This is already freaking cool. See how I just all it is brown wool, and I just jabbed it in there, and now that whole seam is gone. Like, how easy was that? That's insane. So we're just going to try to do that a little more here and there. And I don't even really care if it's, like, clean looking, or if it's in there all the way, if it's, like, kind of coming out. I don't care. Because Scrummy doesn't care. And so if there are just little bits that are, like, kind of, like, little flyaways, you know, like, in the hair world, I'm sure they'd be like, no! Handle your flyaways! But we don't care. I'm trying to figure out where that plastic bone stops and starts. I've been browsing that Discord channel. You guys have been in there sharing stuff. I've been seeing some dice towers. I see some of you have started streaming. That's freaking cool. I'm really glad you guys are sharing your stuff in there. I've been seeing a lot of felting stuff. That really, really makes my heart just so happy, you guys. Like, you don't even know. I've been crazy busy, and, like, I feel super awful because I really want to be more in tune with what's happening with you guys and what you guys are making and the community we're trying to build here. But I'm just so proud of you guys. You guys are just doing such fun stuff, and hopefully a lot of you guys get to play. I know it's super hard to find a group, but there are other ways to be a part of the D&D community, and we all learned that this week. But yeah, the Discord, yes, thank you, Crystal. Again, a million times thank you, Crystal. I feel like an awful turd for having not been in there as much as I want to be, but when I do get to check in, you guys have always been doing awesome stuff. Oh! I just broke all of the needles, you guys! Alright. It's gonna be one of those days. I want to show you guys that I totally hit the bone. Look at them all. The little needles. Can you see them? It's like a little porcupine accident in there. Oh man, they're gonna be... Hey look, we have pliers! They have little barbs on them, so I don't want to rip them out with my fingers. Man, I guess I'm going to the crafting store this afternoon and getting a new set of needles. They even broke off, like, on the thingy. Yeah. I didn't stab myself, you're right. It could have been way worse. But, here's how you take apart one of these things. Look at that. These things just slip right out, usually. Hey, let's use the pliers. Like smarts. Wow, why are they in there so hard? Huh, maybe I don't know how to change this. Lol. You guys aren't here for, like knowledgeable information, are you? Because I'm gonna have it today. Ah! Man, a Craft Hags road trip to the store. Oh, now I remember. Alright, so they didn't come out because they have little L's on the back. And they're shaped like this. See, that's why it wouldn't come out. Physics! It's physics, you guys! You can't pull something through a hole that it's not meant to go through. Just facts of physics. Alright, so I guess we're done needle felting for today because... it's okay. It's alright. Where did this come from? Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. Yeah, and I don't have any extras. I've never broken those before. That's insane. Oh well, you guys got the gist, right? Like, of needle felting. We can move on to something else. Let me find my cap. There it is. Hey, how are you guys doing today? You guys having a day like mine? It's Monday, right? This happens to everybody. But yeah, hey, look at all this we got done already. I mean, like, it looked like this, with these little flappy things that just don't look great at all. And then, we needle felted some of this brown wool over, just, you know, over the bone. The corset bone that we definitely should have been more careful of, but doesn't that already look way better? This little mushroom, ooh, actually, this mushroom right here is kind of long. Like it sticks out too far and he just kind of hangs weird. This show's starting to look kind of medical. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it could be cool to pull this mushroom actually over the seam and sew it on that way. Just because we have so much extra mushroom there. Let's try that. Let me get... Oh yeah, look, this is already threaded. So I'm just going to come through the back here. See if we can not break any more needles today. I broke a needle first thing last week, too. I'm like... I should be fired. D&D, don't fire me, okay? So yeah, we're just going to pull this over. I'm going to tie it. So we can get an idea for how tight it's going to be. Uh-oh. Why is it stuck? Man. This should just be like the troubleshooting episode where everything goes wrong and then I tell you how to not freak out about it. Oh my gosh, Adorned, you're back! I haven't seen you in forever! I'm so glad to see people in the chat I haven't seen in a long time. I know some days I just don't look at the chat as much, and you guys have been there all along, and that's my fault. But when I do notice you guys in the chat, it makes me really happy. You guys are my buds. So it's Tuesday morning in New Zealand? Is that what you guys are saying? Like really early Tuesday? Wow. Jeez. That makes no sense. Look at that! Oh my gosh! Carol. Needle felting needles? That's okay, we have plenty of other things to do, but thank you, okay. Chris' husband.
She's watching, so
I know she's watching! Alright, so, my mother-in-law is watching, and my husband just came in and said, she wants to know if you need her needles, which is just so sweet of her, thank you. But, I'm gonna see her this afternoon, so I'll just pick them up then. Thank you, Carol. By the way, Carol's the best. That's why we're moving in with her. Or she's moving in with us, whatever's more socially appropriate right now. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah, look at this. This is gonna work out really well. Getting this mushroom over the seam. If I can get it in there! The other thing I lost while packing for this move is my little needle pot holders. They're like little rubber things. They're just like little green pieces of rubber, and they kind of look like tiny, tiny pot holders. So I call them my pot holders. If I could like have those, like a lifetime supply of those, I'd be pretty happy. But yeah, this mushroom, dragging him over here. Just gonna tie off this knot. Boop! You guys, I'm so glad you're here to witness this show, this great piece of entertainment. But yeah, so I guess I'll just save this edge for more needle felting later. And let's try, what kind of colors should we add to the front of this? Here's where we get real fun. We've got some crazy darks. There we go, that's a little better. You can see the colors. Yeah, those all blend in like real nice. And the cool thing about this is I just kind of went in to the color area I liked at the store, and like I just picked up a bunch of colors. Like, look at this. None of those are the same color. They're all just barely off, which is like nature. Like, it's not just 2 colors out there. It's like 80 kinds of green. So, I guess now what we're gonna do, let's start with this thing. We'll just cut off a little bit. We'll see what it looks like. And I think this has like 4 different threads, 4 or 5 maybe. Maybe 6. Five. No, 6. Yeah, it has 6 threads making up the thread. So I might decide that it's too thick. And then we'll just tear some of them out and separate it. And I'm just gonna start kind of going at this. Down here on the bottom. And like overlapping some of them. I kind of want to make a little bit of like a tree effect. But I don't want it to look too uniform. So we'll just see. I know I kind of am copying like a feather stitch a little bit. But just like really badly. And I guess we'll just see if we can cover up some of this this spot where this thing's showing through. Oh no. Oh, I did it so wrong. Oh. Yep, this is gonna be the episode where I do everything wrong. And it's still okay. adorned. You can totally watch the VODs on YouTube. That's super easy, I think. I know that on Twitch it's kind of hard to find the latest. Especially when you just want to watch one show. Not that you shouldn't be watching all the other shows too, but we ain't all got time for that. Yeah, this actually is starting to look kind of cool. Let me zoom in. Low. That. Yeah, there we go. See how that's just kind of starting to make some lines, you know? They aren't on my YouTube, adorned. They are on the D&D YouTube. Luckily, because as we all know from Season 1, I was not very good at putting things on the internet. So yeah, check that out. It's just kind of like a little bit of a new texture that we're adding on there, which is very nice. Totally doesn't stand out too much. Like from that far away on the camera, you guys can't really even see it. But you can tell that there's just something there making it look gross, right? So I think I'm just gonna tie this off and start a new one a little higher up. And if embroidery looks like something that interests you, for the love of God, please go look at Pinterest. There's so many people on there doing crazy stuff. There's a million different kinds of embroidery supplies. You can get all sorts of different textures going on. Obviously, people have figured out all of the cool secret knots and, you know, stitches that look cool. And I mean, like, embroidery is something that humans have been doing for probably thousands of years at this point. Not probably, they have. So, same with felting. This is such an old technique. There are other people who are way better at all of this than I am. And if you actually want to learn how to do this stuff right, you should be looking at what they're doing. And there's a lot of people who put out stuff online. Especially, like, Pinterest is really cool because people will make those little, like, infographic things that'll just show you, like, a bunch of different stitches, cool knots to make on top, like, so that you can make, like, little flowery things. Like, people have learned how to sculpt with thread, and it is inspiring and so cool. I'm gonna get crazy with this one. I'm gonna see how weird of a texture I can get this to make. And then there's people who embroider and they, you know, incorporate beadwork, which I will be doing at some point when I can sit down. Hey, Mini Terrain Domain, I've been watching you and I am super, super happy that you're streaming. It's super cool. I'm glad I could inspire somebody to start doing stuff, putting themselves out there. making cool stuffs. Streaming isn't for everyone. I totally understand. But I'm glad you're doing it. Ooh, yeah, that way. Here's the other cool thing. I think I might, So, sorry, I'm thinking while I talk. That's rude. I've seen some people do some really cool, like, weaving of thread on top of thread, and it usually kind of starts off looking like what I just did. So I think I'm going to do another one. Here's what we've done so far. Yeah, it kind of looks like mulch, right? Sticks. Ooh, oh, it's going to be pretty, you guys. It's going to be so pretty. I'm going to start one just down here. There's no backing down here, so it'll go away faster. Ah! Never mind. I don't like doing it on the no backing part. Let's try it up here instead. Anyway, what I've been thinking through while I mumble to you guys is, if you Google, like, embroidery flower, sometimes they do, like, a thing where they make, like, an asterisk out of, you know, like that. You guys know what asterisks are. But they'll make a shape like that, and then they will weave stuff in and out of it, which I'll show you guys in a second, to kind of make like a cool flower shape. And I feel like if I did the same thing, just messier, we could maybe make a lichen. So I think I want to try that. Because lichens are kind of just like tiny flowers, like tiny flat flowers, you know. So I'm going to try that really quick, and then we can use a different color to make our lichen. So basically what I've just done is put a bunch of little stitches right there. That's all. Here's our other ones. You can see those look a little bit more like sticks. This one's just kind of like an asterisk that got exploded a little bit. So what color is our lichen gonna be? I'm gonna do this like green. Yeah, let's try it. We might just like rip it all out if it's really ugly. That's fine too. Weep. Yeah, you're right, Alice of Carol. An embroidered lichen does sound cool. It sounds cool, but I don't know if it's gonna look cool. We'll see. I'm just gonna tie a knot on this end. Again, there are so many ways to embroider, and there are embroidery knots that people have figured out that work way better than everything I'm showing you. So if this is something you want to try, please do it better than I am. Go look up the stuff. Go look up how you're supposed to do it. Or not! Make up your own way to do it, I don't know. Oh, Crystal, that's so nice. You dorks. So we're just going to start in the middle of our little asterisk. And pull it through to the knot. I know you guys can't see, but let me show ya. I've just started this green right in the middle there. And so what I'm going to do is like pull it through. Maybe. Maybe? Maybe that's what I'll do? Okay. So what I'm doing is basically just going around the circle. Making like little leaves. So I'm like weaving it back and forth in between two right now. And if it goes through the felt a little bit too, that's fine. Especially since this is supposed to be kind of a messy thing. We don't care. A lot of people will be like, oh no, you must do it this way so that it looks flawless. Uh-oh. This might even just look like moss. And I just want to make sure I'm not pulling it too tight on itself, because I don't want this to like make a crazy shape. But like, ugh, man. So now we've kind of got like a little blob of green. I know, that's super hard to see. Let me try again. Oh yeah, that's so cute. Yeah, like that, and then just to finish it off, I'm just gonna try like tying a bunch of knots. We're gonna make them double knots! So that they're extra bulky on top here. And then just to get that knot to stay still, we'll go back in and then come back out and start a new knot. So just try to think of it like you're sculpting, but with thread. And like, oh, you want it to be knobby and kind of stick up a bunch? Make a knot. You want it to do it more? Make another knot. Make a bigger knot. I don't know. I've seen people lay stuff on, like, let's say, oh, I want it to be this shape. You could just sew back and forth over this, and it would make like a big poofy thing, and you'd never see the yellow, you know. You would see whatever you're covering it up with, but then it would be this big bulky thing. Maybe we should even do that after we do this lichen thing. Try to remind me that that's what I was gonna do, because I know that we're kind of all over the place today. All of my plans are failing. And thank you, Jerica. I saw that you heard my interview on the Behold Her podcast, which you should all listen to. It's super cool. I've known of Lisa. I think it's Lisa. I want to say. I mean, like I've only heard your name said once, I think, and it was Lisa, but like it's spelled with a Y. So if it's Lisa, I'm really sorry. But she is so freaking nice, and she started a podcast, and she interviewed me, and we had such a blast talking. And I know I just kind of blabbed, like, for a long time. But it was really fun to just, like, talk to her about D&D stuff, you know? Because I could talk about that forever and ever. endeavor. But yeah, everybody go check it out. Really great podcast that just started. It's called the Behold Her podcast. I'm not the only interview on the first episode. There's a lot of other beautiful people on that episode. You should all go check it out. If people doing D&D stuff is your jam, which I think it probably might be. So, believe me, there's some good convos going on over there on the Behold Her podcast. So go check it out. But so here's what I did. So you can see that I used a V, basically like this one, and I just wove it back and forth in between those two, and then on the edge here is just a bunch of knots. So it's just kinda a big knobby thing. And I'm gonna do the rest of them that way really quick, so we can see if we can get it to look like a lichen, you guys. I'm sad that embroidery is so... it takes so much attention. Because I see you guys talking in the chat and I wish I could keep up with what you guys are saying. I'm missing out! Ooh. Having some issues. Ooh, you know what? With that poof idea I just explained, this one, I think it could be fun to try to dye that thread and cover it in that. Let's do that. After I get this lichen figured out. This is just kind of fun, like this freeform embroidery stuff. Like it just kind of ends up looking crazy, which is exactly what we want for this. Oh, and I forgot to thank Sirenscape today. Hey Sirenscape. Thank you for providing all these cool noises for us to listen to. I feel like I'm like doing a prayer at the dinner or something. Dear Sirenscape. Amen. Ooh, you guys. This is fun. I just realized if you don't pull very hard, you don't even really need the backing. Well, okay, so this started out as a lichen, and now it's not. It's more like mold. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so it didn't really turn out the way I intended, but like, that's pretty cool. And then like from a little farther away, that just looks like moss. And then we've got our little mulch sticks down here, and I can like tie some more stuff on here, or I can needle felt over it if it's too blatantly thread, but like, this stuff looks freaking cool. Right? Like, let me wrap this up really quick, and then we'll try that dye stuff. Stay hydrated, bot. What? Okay. Apparently I've been live for an hour, and by this point in the broadcast I should have consumed at least 4 ounces of water to maintain, gosh. I obviously need to maintain some better hydration. To maintain optimum hydration. Okay, I did it! That's cool, I like that hydration bot. Because we all know I need that! But yeah, look, like that's just some fun, like, freeform embroidery, and like, it looks gross. Like, this could be such a cool way to add, I mean, because, you know, like, let's say, okay, so I haven't really been watching Critical Role since the new season started. I really wanted to. I really did. But, like, I watch a bunch of D&D shows. It takes a lot of time. And I have a lot of other stuff. And then sometimes I do D&D for work. So sometimes I don't want to watch more D&D. Like, when it's your job, you don't want it to be your whole life. So sometimes I have to take a break from D&D. And sadly, this has been one of those times. And I've missed all of Critical Role except for like the first episode, which makes me sad. But like, let's say you wanted to do like a Caleb cosplay. I know that Caleb, he's a dirty boy. He's that's mainly what I know about him. But like, let's say you had this really cool jacket and you wanted to distress it and make it look kind of gross and maybe a little moldy. Maybe like there's, you know, actual poop on you. I don't know. I don't know what you want. But like, let's say that is something you want, but you don't want like to try to figure out how to get big clods of dirt on your garment, or say like you don't want to ruin the garment with like a bunch of stuff. This could be such a cool way to add a little bit of dirt and texture, and then you could just rip it all out again. Yeah, you'll have needle holes. I don't know how precious you're being with this jacket, but like, maybe dirt isn't even something you want to try because you're hoping to wear this like to your friend's house where they're DMing and you don't want to get their, you know, their couch all dirty, or you don't want to stain it with whatever like stuff you stained your coat with. Like, you can add stuff to your garments that add texture and a stained look, and sometimes even like a raised 3D effect, just with embroidery or needle felting. You could just felt some nasty brown hairs into it, and like, that way it's clean. You can still like run it through the wash if you really wanted to. Let's see how hot this water is. Ooh, it's pretty hot. My tea water is right here. So what I'm gonna do is just pour a little bit of water. It's still pretty darn hot, which is great. For the dyeing, let me get out my dyes. What color should we dye it? Pardon me while I dig through my mess. How about espresso bean? That'd be fine. Need like a stick or something. See, you know, I had a whole bunch of this stuff just right here on my desk, and then it was like, oh no, wait, you're moving. You better move it all around and maybe pack some of it up. Ah! Okay. What I'm gonna do... What do I do? Here, we'll have to use a big stick. It won't be like the worst, right? Just get some of this dye. It does look pretty purple. Oh, you can't see it all because it's glaring a lot. Wow. Closing jars with one hand. Yeah, guys in the chat, I can see you talking about how it can be kind of hard to listen to D&D streams sometimes. I totally agree. Sometimes I'll try to listen to it while I'm working, and then I'll have to like think really hard about something like math, and then you look back at the screen and you're like, oh, there's a bugbear. What? Huh? Alright. Better back it up, because I don't know what's happening. Yep, been there. So this is just this white cotton thread. It's got that cool texture on it already. So I'm just gonna dip it in the dye. Oh yeah, already dyed. Perfect and wonderful. And the cool part about this is, since I got white thread, I can choose what color to dye every individual piece that I make. So think about that, especially if you're trying to match a certain color or something. Dyeing it yourself can be a great option. Oh cool, it kind of ended up like a dusty brownish purple, which I love. Of course, it's getting all over me. Should have worn gloves, but whatever. Yeah, this turned out to be like a nice dusty purpley grayish brown, which is pretty cool. It doesn't stand out too much. Look at that! Love it. Get some of the water out. Whoop. The only downside of this thread is that it sticks to itself like it's its job. Alright, so let's say, let's do only a little bit, because this thread's really thin also. Let's just get some of the wool that is the right color already, so we don't have to worry about covering it up. But like, let's just do let's just do a thing, and I'm gonna pin this in. Trying not to poke myself. I still can't believe I broke those needles. On screen. Yeah, so if you just kind of twist it up. Get it stuck on there. Where it goes. Scrummy dark. Ouch! Dusty, purpley, grayish brown. That is what I said, isn't it? The next big color, you guys. Alert Pantone! We have a new trendy color. It's called Scrummy Dark. And so I'm not even going to put this on here straight. I just kind of want it to look natural and maybe like something's growing on her. So yeah, all I've done is pin a rolled up piece of wool on there. Like so. I'm going to move this die so I don't have an accident. Because that's what's going to happen today. I mean, like, you know. Hydration bot's going to yell at me again if I don't drink my tea. Does tea count as water? Is it too acidic to be counted as water? I want to know that. Because I know that, like, coffee definitely doesn't count as water. Because it's very acidy. Or maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Alright. This is going to be kind of tough because we do have to go through the back of the corset, which has a layer of vinyl in it. And embroidery through vinyl isn't something I recommend usually. Ha! This isn't working at all, you guys. Okay, so pulling it through the vinyls and no. Now that I've ruined that thread. Lol! Well, we've got about that much thread to work with still. That's enough, right? I didn't ruin all of it. Oh, you guys. Hey, this is what it's like when the cameras are off, too, so... You know, it's real. It's reality TV. Man, wouldn't reality TV just be so boring if it were actually real? Like, then she took a sip of tea. And after that, she took another sip of tea. Then she scratched her nose. Alright, so I'm going to move that. I'll try it again. Over here, where there's no vinyl. Now let's start with a smaller piece, too, because we aren't going to get that much covered. You know. Ha! Okay. Yeah. I see you talking to me about seawater. I'm glad tea counts, but... See, but then that way, we're going through the Velcro. Gosh darn it! Where can we go? Here, let's just make like a cool little Yeah, actually this will be better because then we can kind of see what it looks like when we cover up those little stick shapes we made earlier. Just a little bit, not completely cover them up, just kind of overlap them with something so they don't look so obvious. Alrighty, now let's try this again. Yeah, this is working a little better. You do kind of have to yank. And it doesn't work as well when it's doubled up like that. Okay. Maybe we'll get something going here. Hopefully this looks really cool. I don't know. Oh, see, it really helps when you don't let it get all bunched up. Like it always does! Alright, so this stuff is definitely a nightmare to work with. But I do just want to see what it ends up looking like, because maybe it's worth it. Obviously, we only really have we can really only do minimal amounts of pulling it through before it gets ruined, so probably should do it in like portions of thread that are shorter. That way they don't have to be pulled through so many times before they're done doing their job. Yeah, this stuff is a nightmare, you guys. It's a nightmare. Well, hey, now we know, right? Okay, so we broke a needle. We ruined the thread. What else did we do today? We got some nice embroidery done. This thread is just garbage on the back. Yeah, so, ugh! Alright. Ruined it twice, you guys. Ruined it twice. I'm just gonna see what it looks like now when I just kind of bring it through the top. I feel like we could maybe get a little farther with that. Yeah, so what I'm going to try to do here is salvage this, see if I can just get this texture on the front, not even by bringing it all the way through to the back every time, but just kind of sewing it into the felt that's on the front. And then what I'll do is actually needle felt this loose wool on top into the backing so that it stays on. And then I could even just go back in and sew through some of it with normal thread if it's not hanging on tight enough. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens here. Wow, actually, that looks kind of cool. It almost looks like little wildflowers. I mean, like, not like wildflowers, but like the little stems and stuff that come attached to wildflowers. So, like, let me see if I can see here. Yeah, look, like, all I did was just kind of drag it through with the needle. And that really just kind of makes it look kind of mulchy and gross. So, I think if I... maybe we can try to... Nope. I thought maybe those needles broken off would still work. But that was dumb of me. You definitely can't use a pin because there's nothing sticky on it. Alright, well, let's just pretend that this is on here real well and it looks gorgeous. Oh, you guys, today's just been just interesting. Just the most interesting episode. Yeah, I see everybody saying that Twitch is being twitchy today. Yeah, I've totally got a bunch of dropped frames too, so it might be my connection as well. We've had really bad internet here the last few weeks because of like windstorms and like I don't know how the internet works, but something's broken out there. That's all I know. Need more tea. Before I incur the wrath of Hydration Bot. Yeah, what else were we gonna do? There was a bunch of stuff. Obviously this stuff didn't quite work out the way I was hoping. But I might be able to figure out a way to use it better. Probably just a bigger-eyed needle. So it can't get caught as hard. Yeah, let's see. Let's do some more. Let's find some fun. Ooh, I know. Let's try to dress up the bottom of one of these mushrooms. This will be fun. This stuff's so silky smooth. It's crazy. Crazy pants. I'm only gonna cut a little bit of that. Yeah, Obo Crazy, you're right. I am moving, and hopefully my internet will be incredible. Since we're moving closer to a city. We actually, when I started streaming, I had to pay extra for higher upload speeds. And it worked. Kinda. You know. I mean, we definitely got more than we were before, but not getting as much as we're paying for. Which is just interesting, and we've talked to them about it before, and it's just like... They also didn't have like a ton of options for upgrading out here. As in, they had no options for upgrading, and then we got like some like tip from the guy saying like, oh, well, if you really want them to upgrade, you just have to do this. We were like, okay. And it kind of worked, but I definitely can't wait to move somewhere where there's a little bit better infrastructure. You know. Yeah, and I'll be closer to Bill Gates, so... Does Bill Gates even live in Seattle still? Did he ever? I mean, I know that Microsoft's out there, but like... I don't know, maybe he lives in Alaska now. I don't know. Yeah, what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna see... We'll start on a little bottom mushroom. Actually, here's a good thing to show you guys. So I was still doing tests on these mushrooms before I even got to the part where I figured out that I like this. This is one of those, what are they called? Silk carrier rods, and I like opened it up and made it all like torn apart really well, and then that way when it shrunk back together you kind of got this messy, natural looking mushroomy look. But before I had tried that, I tried more of those slubs, and I know slubs is our favorite word here on Craft Hags. But like they kind of made these big knobby things more than the, as you can see, this is a little bit more of just like a texture, which looks a little bit more natural. So why don't we use this thread and see if we can't like dress this up a little bit. And this is going to be kind of hard because I don't want it to be visible on the top, just on the bottom of the mushroom. So we'll see if we can't like fake that look. And make that look a little better. This stuff's really slippery. I don't know how I'm gonna get it to stay. There's probably a good knot for that I haven't looked up yet. But I will. Oh! There she is. Hi, Merciful EM. We were just talking about Behold Her. Just like a few minutes ago. And for anybody who doesn't know, Merciful DM in the chat is the one running that Behold Her podcast that we were talking about earlier. Super cool. Everybody go give it a listen. Slubs around the chat. Man, I slub around every day. And so all we're doing now is we're trying to imitate those gills that are on the bottoms of mushrooms with this embroidery thread here. But the tricky part is we can't really go through the whole mushroom because we don't want to see it on the top, we just want to see it on the bottom. But the cool thing is this stuff's really shiny, and it's going to be so pretty. I'm glad slubs is like the magic word now. Soon they'll be adding it to the dictionary. It'll just be household term, I'm sure. Ugh. So I know it's hard for you guys to see. Let me tighten up my work here just real quick. Yeah, look at that, you guys! So, over here you can see where I've already done those little back and forth, so I'm just going like this. And then over here is where I'm gonna continue, but like, let me get it in the light better. Look how shiny it is, shiny! And those look way more like gills than these do over here. Such cutes. I think we need emotes for this stream. Slubs needs to be one of them. Yeah, D&D, where's our slub emotes? you know what they should do? What we should do is we should create like some sort of new monster for D&D that's just called a slub. But we gotta decide what that is. What does that stat block look like? I mean, like, come on. Blame Tito! Agreed. Hey, you know what? Tito's not on after me today, so I can say whatever I want about him. Just kidding, we won't do that. We love and respect Greg Tito. But yeah, hey, when do they create new monsters, and when can we get the slub monster made? This is actually going to be so freaking pretty, you guys. I'm excited now that I'm seeing this. Because there's a lot of bits on here that I'm just a little unhappy with here and there. And like, I ripped off most of the beads that we did last week. Because I went out and got new beads that are better, and they're like the same color but smaller, so they're not going to be so loud. But once I get all the detail work on this done, the way I like it, I'm going to take some really nice pictures, and I'll add them to the Twitter moment. You guys can see what I actually decided on, because that's kind of the thing. It's like, I'll do a bunch of stuff, obviously. It doesn't all work out. But we eventually get there, and it will eventually be cute. And also gross at the same time. One of its actions is vibrate! Oh my god, you guys! Oh! Stop it! Oh man. So, did I ever... Okay. I don't think I ever recapped what a slub is. These are slubs. Slubs! They're little pieces of wool that are too matted to comb apart, so they just cut them out. But then they package them all up, and they're just all in the little bag, and you can order a bag of slubs. And they make for some cool textures on your felt. There's a lot of things you can do with them, I'm sure, that I haven't even thought of. Oh, this is the cutest, you guys. Oh, it even kind of helps it stand up the way I wanted it to. Ah! Alright. I'm getting too excited here, guys. We gotta calm the slub down. We're just gonna make it a word for, like, any use. It's like for fans of Rick and Morty. It's like they have the word squanch. It like means anything. We've got slub. Slubby the slubber. I really hope that's not a bad word and like I'm just saying it. God. Let's hope not. I mean, they wouldn't have named it that if it was already a bad word, right? I guess I don't know. I'm just gonna, like, do a little dab of glue to keep that thread there. But look at that, you guys! Alright, so before, yuck. After! Oh, so cute and pretty. And it kind of adds like a substantial factor to the mushroom. Oh my god! I'm so excited, you guys. And then like on the corset when they all kind of look like that. And you just get like little hints of what's underneath. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited. Yeah, that's adorable. And then, hey, let's try some green on top, yeah? Green, maybe, oh, here, actually, I kind of like this yellower green a little better. A sheep caterpillar, yeah! That's a slub. Hansel, man, I haven't seen you in forever, how are you? Making HasCon jokes. SlubCon! Everybody come out to SlubCon! God. What are we doing in here, you guys? We're going nuts. Being insane. That's why I love you guys. You don't judge me. You're just like, yeah, Danny, slubs. We gotcha. Slub life. Oh my god. You guys. You guys. That's so silly. I keep licking my fingers and I just had that dye all over my hands. Hey, if I get really sick, you guys all know what happened, okay? I doubt it. I think I'll be fine. So I'm gonna just go in on top of this same mushroom. I'm gonna start in the corner here though, where nobody will see my little knot. I'll just pull it through. Okay. And then, I'm not going through all the back. I'm just gonna be like, where'd my needle go? I'm just gonna be kind of like going through the top just a little bit, because it's kind of just like a sponge. It's thick, you can like go in but not all the way through. And we really don't want that. We don't want to ruin everything we just did on the back. But then we can just kind of make some fun little stitchy shapes on top here. And we'll see if we can't like overlap them a little bit so they don't really look as much like stitches. Maybe they look a little bit more like little wavy lines. Maybe we'll do some of that lichen work on top. That stuff that we figured out looks good earlier. We could put those on top of here. Because right now we kind of have this look going on top where I spread that like silk fiber all over the top, and it kind of just made like a white netting look on top, and I lost a lot of the detail I wanted, especially on this one mushroom I'm working on. It wasn't really a problem across the board, but we do want to get some of those stripy lines back in. So now that I've gone across, I'll just do another one. Sam approves of the slub life. I like it. Sheep and wool festivals. Do they have those? Yeah, let's decide what a slub monster is, like, in D&D. Like, obviously, you guys said something earlier that was like, I can't remember. My brain, you guys. Did I mention I have a headache? I can't, like, remember stuff. Somebody says they do have sheep and wool festivals. I need to go there. Because that sounds awesome. Okay. So, now what I've done, you can kind of see where I've added those stitches in on top. Obviously my camera is blowing this out quite badly, but it just kind of adds a little bit more of like a stripy effect on top there. And if I wanted to, this is the fun part, I could even like pull it tight and see if it like makes the mushroom wavier or like could crinkle up in a cool way. I'll just have to play with it and see what happens. Yeah, I really like that. It's super subtle, but like it still gives it kind of a mushroomy feel. I like it! Basically, vendors for any type of fiber craft. I love the Rhinebeck's Sheep and Wool Festival in New York. I believe Maryland has a big one too. Wow! Look at Merciful DM just dropping knowledge on us. They have those so hard, Danny. Man! How did I not know? They're doing it so hard and I didn't notice. I mean, I'm kind of new to this world, so not my fault, right? Yeah, look at that! Oh, it's so cute. Little mushroom. Little mushroom sticking out from the corset. Sheep drive. Hordes of drunken cowboys in the street! I don't know what you're talking about anymore. Y'all are going crazy. I'm just going to yank this off until I can get it on there more appropriately. That was an okay experiment, right? But yeah, so I think this week, what I'm going to be doing, first off, I'm going to be finding the little nasty babies that I made, much like this one. I made them right before the stream. They really should just be here anywhere. But I probably laid them down in the kitchen when I went to make tea. So I will be attaching those to this other side here this week. And then I'll be doing a lot more of this like mossy type texture stuff with a bunch of different colors, not just green. I really like this stick looking texture we got figured out. I might vary it a little bit, do some thinner ones, do some thicker areas, you know, get that all spread around. I'm gonna go get more needles from my mother-in-law since I broke my needle felting needles. Oh god, I just dropped the shard in here somewhere. Ugh, now my cat's yelling at me. What are we doing? Ugh. Well, so, I'll be evening out the edges. There's the shard. Okay. Okay. I think we're all good. No more shards. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing all the same stuff all over here. We're gonna be like... Sit down, Beans. We're gonna be probably doing a lot more needle felting, because I've got all these edges to cover up. See, like this edge right here, just between this stuff and this stuff. Really weird, right? It doesn't look good. Same with right here. Probably just going to be adding a lot more felt. Putting little gills on the undersides of all this stuff. Yes, everybody say hi. Hi, Beans. Oh, meow. Oh, meow. Want to look at the camera, Beans? But yeah, I think I'm going to end it just a little bit early this week because obviously I'm not, like, performing the best today. And also, I think I left everything in the kitchen. Say hi, Beans. For everybody who hasn't met Willow, this is Willow. She's almost 17 years old for some reason. And, I call her Will Beans. Or Beansy Schmeans. Or Schmins. You know how it goes. You don't call your pet by their name. But yeah, she says the show's over, so thank you to Sirenscape for making all these wonderful noises that calm us down when we're just ruining our craft. It just keeps us calm. It's lovely. Thank you, Sirenscape. We owe you so much. Thank you to D&D for letting us do this here. Everybody check out the Discord. Thank you again. And again and again. To Crystal for setting up the Discord for us. If you want to learn more about crafting or talk to people about their ideas for costumes or just any D&D craft related thing, that's the place to do it. I'm not always in there. It's a community for you guys. You guys can make it whatever you want it to be. I'll obviously be popping in because you guys share really cool stuff I haven't even seen before. Somebody, I'm totally blanking on who it was, but if you go to the Craft Hags Twitter, that's at Craft Hags on Twitter. Same with Instagram. We've got a place there too. But on Twitter, somebody sent me a lady who had this like giant power vibrator thing. That's not what it was. I don't know what it was, but I'm gonna call it a giant power vibrator. And they were vibrating felt on the ground outside on a tarp because it was so big. And they were making a yurt out of it, which I knew that yurts were made out of felt, but I had never seen somebody make like just it was massive. It was like the size of a car piece of felt. It was nuts. So go check that out. There's a bunch more cool stuff on Craft Hags on Twitter like that. Same with Instagram. I'm at Danny Hartel on Instagram and Twitter if you're interested in my goings on and the dumb stuff I post that's not D&D related. But yeah, we will see you next week, and I'm sure next week will go better because this week was just it was just a thing, wasn't it, Beansy? It was just a thing. Anyway, I love you all. You've been great. See you next week. Same time, same place.